I've not showered since Saturday and it's now Monday. I feel so called to share this. She didn't expect the most wild ride. It's so crazy how all of a sudden I felt like I had no voice. Understand why I had so much crippling self-doubt. But your feminine self-worth is established and built as a young child, as a young girl. And I've never felt so lonely and so isolated in my entire life. That is God's purpose for my life, hands down, hand on my heart, like that is God's purpose for my life. What is up, fam? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, the best place for coaches, business owners, agencies, and just anyone that wants to be a part of the journey. I have not even washed my face. I have not even brushed my hair. I'm still in my pajamas and I've not showered since Saturday and it's now Monday. But over the last 48 hours, I think I have had some of the biggest spiritual and God-led breakthroughs. And I just woke up this morning and feel so called to share this. I feel so called to share this. I have my laptop here and this is just going to be a really raw, a very, very raw video for you all. It's going to be really raw and really just heart-led and just super, super real. On Saturday, I wrote a post and I really wanted to just share this with you. And as I'm opening up this series of me just sharing and bearing my soul and my heart, I want to give this a title. I want to give this series a title. And for those of you that don't know, I have Worthy and United. And Worthy and United is where my brand all started. The Rising Woman is where the brand all started years ago for me. And where my success really stemmed from was starting a podcast and sharing stories of overcoming adversity and interviewing women and finding out like what was it that led them to the success? What was the defining moment that led these women to their huge breakthroughs? And when I started the podcast, I started it out of my own story, my own personal story of overcoming adversity. I didn't expect the most wild ride. I feel like God just continues to move mountains in ways that I can't even explain. And sometimes some weeks are really, really hard. And sometimes some weeks are so hard. They're so hard. But here I am. Oh my God. When I started the podcast, I launched a women's mental health events. And I know since I have done a podcast episode, which was at the end of last year in 2022, I've been completely silent. I tried to rebirth this movement. I tried to rebirth it. And I felt like everything was stripped underneath me at the end of last year. And I really want to share what had happened and what the experiences were that I went through. And I've been waiting for the right time to be able to share what I went through because I was trying to comprehend what I actually went through mentally, emotionally, spiritually, religiously. I went through a huge awakening and I really do want to share what that was. And I've been waiting for the moment where I could use my voice to share what had happened because I feel like for months, my voice has been suppressed and I couldn't figure out why. I've been scared of visibility. I've been scared of being seen. I've been scared of stepping into this next version of myself. I've been scared to really use my voice. And it's crazy because like for someone that's been on social media since 2012, sharing my story, it's so crazy how all of a sudden I felt like I had no voice. And I was so scared of judgment and criticism and what people think of me or how people perceive me. And it's so wild to think that someone that has achieved so much success and someone that has achieved a multiple 7-figure business could feel this big, just tiny, like ant size. And I couldn't understand why I had so much crippling self-doubt. There was like a combustion that happened in my life, within me, within my family, within my entire business, a huge combustion. And what I'm coming to realize is that this is the biggest initiation that I am going through. And it's just beckoning for me to go through it. I am going to start filming and recording the real me. Feminine Sales Academy is a part of an identity of what I'm good at. But the real me is so much greater than that. It is so heart-led, the real me. At the core of who I am, it's just me and my humanity and my love for God and my love for people, and to want to be able to create a generational change. And that's my God's purpose for my life. That is God's purpose for my life. Hands down, hand on my heart, like that is God's purpose for my life. So I want to share with you something that I wrote, and I hope that this lands well for you. And I've labeled this series of getting to know Jessica Viera and being and taking you on this journey. I have called this season that I'm in, I just moved to Mexico, and everything kind of feels odd. Everything feels odd. And then I woke up on Saturday morning and I realized I'm in the waiting room. I'm currently in God's waiting room. I'm in a season where God is moving things through me. And Mexico is the waiting room. I'm in transition to moving to America. And I've committed to 6 months being here. And I've never felt so lonely and so isolated in my entire life. I have been in solitude for some time, and I've been okay with my own company and my own presence. But for some reason, being in Mexico feels completely different. It feels isolating. I'm on the other side of the world. I don't have Monique. I don't have Mum. And it's been scary. It's been very confronting. And what I realized is that this is the waiting room. And what I've realized is that sometimes God puts you in a waiting room so that you can be prepared for what's next. And the waiting room sometimes isn't the best feeling. It's uncomfortable. It's the void. It's where you need to meet yourself at a new edge. It's where you need to be patient and calm and stay ready and eager for what God is going to do next in your life. So I wrote this on Saturday, and I hope that this lands well for you. And over the coming weeks, I'm going to keep sharing this in little snippets of my life. And I just want to be able to spread good spirits and hopefulness into your life. So here we go. This is The Waiting Room by Jessica Viera. Sometimes God puts us in the waiting room. The waiting room is where I've always struggled to sit with patience. Trying not to create expectations. All this time I sit waiting, I feel my heart would continue breaking. I try not to start fading. All this time I thought the waiting room was the dark room. Turns out this room is where I'm in preparation to bloom. Where intervention meets a condition. This is my unwavering submission, unfaded. The waiting room is not as complicated as I've always feared. This is where God appears. And in the silence, when he starts to speak, you listen to where the next crossroad begins. Led by his mighty hand, you carry me across the land. Look where I'm standing now. I will always be found. As I stand patiently, steadily, and eagerly in the period between God's promises and fulfillment, I remain in commitment. For those that wait for the Lord and his preparation will renew new strength. And the verse that I feel that resonates with this poem that I wrote is from Habakkuk 2, verse 2 to 3 says, "But these things I plan won't happen right away. Slowly, steadily, surely, the time approaches when the vision will be fulfilled. If it seems slow, don't despair, for these things will surely come to pass. Just be patient. They will not be overdue by a single day. The waiting room. I wrote this on Saturday, and I feel like that this is what Mexico is. It is the waiting room. And I feel like God is definitely speaking to me in this moment. And there is so many signs right now in my life where I'm just like having these huge aha moments. Like this is an invitation. And currently right now, I'm obsessed with the app, and you've got to download it. It's called Teledipity. You have to download it. It's focused around like numerology, and you enter in your birthday, and it's going to give you like a whole life forecast of your life, what stage of life you're in, and it breaks down like all the stages of life. And this app has literally been changing my life, and it's just like directly speaking to my soul. And it's so like the messages are so in alignment for where I'm at right now in my life, and I can't even begin to explain. I didn't even know where to begin. One thing that I read this morning was, you'll notice opportunity knocking sometimes this week. Movement on your objectives is palpable. Doors you weren't expecting open up. Emails and calls upon from all directions as you're introduced to individuals who want to collaborate with you or lend a helping hand. By the same token, some doors that had been opened for many months and you had high hopes for, close for good. It's like the universe begins to accelerate everything that was up in the air so you know where you stand. Stay grounded. The best opportunities start with serious work, serious research, and serious agreements. And, you know, this is following on from like a report that I read the other day. And something that I've been really, really, really trying to move through is self-doubt, and really try to improve on my feminine self-worth. But with improving your feminine self-worth, it comes, and how to explain this? Your feminine self-worth is your magnetism, it's your personal power, it's your confidence, it's your radiance, it's your wisdom, it's your knowledge, it's your connection to spirit, to God, to the universe. It is the potentiality of what is and who you are becoming and who you are destined for. But your feminine self-worth is established and built as a young child, as a young girl. And if you haven't received praise or love the right way from your parents, your feminine self-worth can be significantly suppressed. And every moment in your as a child and as a young adult and as a young woman, every encounter that you have with people and with men will, to some degree, can suppress and oppress your feminine self-worth. And one thing that I've been really working on this year is really connecting back with my self-worth. But in order to connect with your self-worth and to improve your self-worth, you also have to attend to the parts of you that have been oppressed, that have been suppressed. And you have to attend to past trauma, and you have to have the duality of going through it. We can't just improve our self-worth without dealing with the opposite, the bad, right? We need to deal with the good and the bad at the same time. So in order for me to improve my self-worth, I've needed to attend to parts of myself that have held me back, that are painful to feel, that cause me sadness, that cause me anxiousness, that cause me fear. And it all stems back to abandonment and rejection and not feeling good enough. So in order for me to improve my feminine self-worth, I've had to attend those parts of myself. And I do believe that these parts of myself is an ongoing work that I am always forever going to be going through. But this year and the last 8 months, so to speak, have really been about reconnecting with my feminine, reconnecting with my feminine self-worth. And this has been some really, really hard work to do. And I feel like last week, as I went through a huge like breakthrough, I got validation that I really needed from mentors. I was able to see certain parts of myself that I need to shift. And I've come to this moment of a crossroads where I've reconnected with myself, and I better understand like what I have been going through. And I'm going to share like a lot of this over the next coming weeks. I just need to figure out where the hell to start, because I feel like that there are so many layers. There's so many layers to the story, because when it comes to healing and it comes to moving through what we need to move through in life, when it comes to the different seasons that we go through in life, there is so many different defining moments, so many parts, so many fragments of the healing process, and that enables the shift, that enables the growth, that enables the transition, that enables the initiation that we need to go through in order to reach that next level that we always think of, that we want to get to. But there's so many incremental parts that get us to that shift, to that moment. So I need to break it down. I need to write it down. I need to figure out the layers of the story so that I can share it with you, because I am not yet clear on how to actually translate this into a message that's going to make sense to all of you. But I guess where I need to start is where I stopped, and that was at the end of last year. So I guess that's where I start. I'm really excited to share this. I definitely feel like God is moving something through me right now, and I am being used as a vessel right now, and I'm taking it, and I'm taking it all in for a long time. I have not allowed God to move through me in the way that he needs to move through me. And I do genuinely feel in my soul and in my heart and in my existence that this is the moment. This is the moment. So I hope that you would stay with me. The next 6 months is about being in the waiting room. And that is what this season is going to be called. The waiting room. Being in God's waiting room. Because there is going to be multiple times throughout your life where you're going to have to sit in God's waiting room. Sit in God's waiting room. And you have to sit there, and you have to be patient, and you have to be ready, and you have to be eager, and you have to be committed to God's will for your life and purpose. And you have to just wait in patience before God prevails all that you ever prayed for. Because there are moments in your life right now that you once prayed for years ago that you forgot that you prayed for it. There are moments in my life now, I'm living the life that I once prayed for on my knees, crying and begging for God to give me a breakthrough, to help me financially, provide me security, provide me opportunities, provide me breakthroughs. I remember distinctly God crying to God on the edge of my bed, begging for courage and strength, begging him for a financial breakthrough. And the life that I live today is the life that I once prayed for years ago. And just like me, you also go through these same things. There were moments in your life where you prayed a prayer, and you prayed and you begged. If you believe in God or if you do not, you're still in those moments when you were on your knees and you were crying. You begged for a breakthrough. And those moments that you prayed for are here today. So we are always in the waiting room. We are always in the waiting room, and we always must stay ready and eager and ready for what God is going to do next in our life. That is all. Thank you for being here.